from this side of things, it's going to be a tricky matchup for both of these teams. They need to play essentially around their ADCs. I think Vayne is going to be a big priority to make sure that she gets beefed up. She's paired, of course, with that Morgana. That's going to give her a little bit of protection. However, Israel and Tom Kent in the bot lane, that's going to get a bit annoying for this Vayne, who you can almost expect to get pushed early on. Oh, a connection almost immediately. And will the flash come in? It looks like both players will be able to get out of that one. But it is a flash coming in from Yasuo as well. As no, the Aurelia actually does not even get that spent. So it was a Morgana coming in with the Ignite. The flash got spent by Yasuo as well as the Jarvan. So double flash for Ignite there.
I feel like it was a little bit careless for Marine getting caught right there. You do have the vision. That one step, I think he took further out of the bush, lost him the vision for that one split second that Nexus had to get even closer to the point where he would either have to flash through a wall, which I feel like you have the Morgana there, you have the Gragas. I think they would be able to catch up in some way, even if he flashed through a wall. But other than that, he dies, he does keep his flash, and the top laner for Nexus does not. So that gives Rek'Sai an opportunity to get back up into the top lane and equalize the score between the two.
Absolutely. So hopefully they kept track there of the flash, because that's going to be absolutely, should he decide to go for that early gank on potentially Yasuo, or on I'm not too sure if he wants to play around the territory of Jarvan as he's doing some work in that top lane. On the other side of things, Cassio taking on Yasuo on that side. You gotta feel that's a little bit of a skill matchup between the two. Who will be able to come on top? We'll just have to wait and see. For right now, this one really can swing in either's direction, but Nexus have a clear advantage getting that first blood early on. Trouble, if there's going to be a lane on either one of these sides, which would you keep your eyes on?
Oh, it would be definitely top lane, I think, with the lack of flash on Code right now. Sanya has a pretty good opportunity of getting up there and getting some revenge down for his team. And to be honest, I think this is the reason he also started from the bot side. He cleared his whole bot side. I feel like he's gonna clear the top and maybe go back, reset, grab his item, and then go straight up top where the flash will still be missing from Cold and try to get that Aurelia ahead. We have seen how hard it is to deal with an Aurelia that actually gets ahead. And as for the mid lane matchup, I feel it is kind of even to the part where I think both parts will be able to see us very well. You know, when the Miasma goes down, Yasuo, I think we'll be able to get away. Yeah, exactly. Sanya takes 2 tower hits there as well, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, Yasuo, like at some point, Cassiopeia will throw the Miasma down. Yasuo will stay grounded to where he is, but he can put the wall up, which means that Cassiopeia can no longer further follow up with any more damage. So even though he's sitting on that Miasma, yes, he does take a little bit of tick damage, but nothing major that he can't see us on top of. So I think the two junglers will play a crucial part in this game.
Yeah, especially towards that mid lane battle, which seems to be going a little bit back and forth. We saw the early Rek'Sai trying to get in, but not really being able to connect with much. On the other side of things, Yasuo, he's found himself on the back foot a couple of times in these trades, and it has to be said that when it comes down to WiLD gaming, they've really felt some mid laner that they can draw some confidence. Maybe he'll be able to come out on top of that fight. But for right now, things are pretty much evenly spread across the board. Rek'Sai is floating towards that top lane. Aurelia has pushed it all the way forward, so ganking potential is pretty much low. And now it's all about just trying to clear as many camps as possible. We know that there's probably not going to be a gank in that bot lane either anytime soon, as long as Israel and Tom are playing under the top.
Well, he is heading towards the mid lane right now, but Vrao is playing very, very carefully. He knows that right now Cold is playing underneath his tower, so diving a Jarvan is a little bit dangerous, especially when you don't know where the Gragas is as well. It could literally turn south straight away. So Vrao knows that, and he plays a little bit more defensive. Now that you see his jungler coming a bit closer, you can see him getting a little bit more aggressive. into Might in the mid lane, and of course you don't want to let this Cassiopeia actually scale. We're talking about a full AD comp from the side of Nexus, so you do want to get these advantages early, and with them losing that first blood, I'm sorry, with them having that first blood, it is what enables an AD composition to shine super early into the game. And of course, having that little bit of a, pop AP damage at the start from the Gragas is going to definitely help on these skirmishes, whether it's in the river, whether it's in ganking, or even counter-ganking for the for the Gragas. I feel like they do have the upper hand right now, and they need to pressure that advantage even more.
Absolutely, as it looks like the Nexus bottom lane will try to go for the back here. We'll go relatively unchallenged here from the squad of WiLD in this bottom lane. As you can see, Gragas just slowly but surely trying to clear out the jungle of any vision, making sure the Rek'Sai kind of he's hold up that wave for the Cassio. That gives it just a little bit of opportunity to get some vision, but that should be picked up quite soon from their opposite number.
Do have both lasses back up in the top lane, but with the teleports actually used. So this is a great opportunity to go and make a play top side, because in the bot side you do have a Cloud Drake. Oh, here's the flash from the Rek'Sai.
So the Rek'Sai is going to be able to jump his way in. The Miasma will be able to much, as they will be able to whittle him down just to a flash. And comes out with a life still in hand.
Alright, we do see a ton of pings, and I love the ping code vision from both of the teams. 3 down right now on the map from the side of WiLD, and 2 ping codes right now to try and keep the bot lane safe from Nexus. They know that, the bot lane is pretty much going to be a farm fest between these two teams. We do have the buffs onto the Tamkins. Oh, here comes the Gragas.
Yeah, as it looks like the Predator will get popped, and that's going to connect with the ultimate, and there we go. Another kill going in favor of Nexus, who got to be happy with that jungle pressure.
You know what? A Gragas is pretty much a free ticket in for the Yasuo. You get that knock-up. Even if you don't get the body slam, you are going to hit the casket. So no matter what way is, the Yasuo will get the free entrance in. And you know what? Add in there the Jarvan as well. That provides yet another knock-up. If they manage to get Frau so far ahead to the point where, these games where you kind of feel disgusted by the enemy Yasuo, that's kind of like 10-0, 5 minutes into the game. If they can get Frau to be as disgusting as that in a solo queue game, then I feel like Nexus have the win condition right in their hands.
Absolutely, and one of the big things that's going to be the Rex again, but as rolls its way forward, the shield will get put up, but that's not going to be enough, as it looks like they'll get one of their own going in the back pocket of the mid layer, who comes up big.
Well, they do manage to shut him down, and that means that he is going to be losing a lot of XP in the mid lane as well, and potentially we do have Might here grabbing a few tower platings for himself, which is a lot of valuable gold early game, especially on a scaling mid lane champion such as Cassiopeia. You want to be farming up your tier, and right now we're talking about 2 tier champions on the side of WiLD. They want to be able to farm it up. They want to be able to take these fights later into the game, but what do you do early into the game? Frau is able to dash his way around Might, and he doesn't seem scared at all.
Doesn't seem scared, but right now it looks like the
Predator
jungler just might be, as the Predator will also get, but this should be a solo going up in favor of Frau, who comes up big there and just managed to pick him out. And yes, you've got to say that when it came down to the WiLD Gaming's Tanya Dao in jungle, kind of overextended there.
Oh my god, the nightmare is coming alive, Nick. It is the solo queue Yasuo, not the one you have in your team. The one that the enemy team has. Always. Am I right?
Every single time, the Yasuo enemy team always better than mine.
Yeah, well, I do get some flashbacks of my Yasuo once. I don't want to remember that one. Anyway, Nexus find themselves 2 kills up, but gold down. Because if you have a look at their laners, every single one of them is ahead in CS. And have a look at the gold as well to see a little bit where it comes from. Top lane 600 gold ahead, even though he has gone back to use that gold. Javan is sitting with gold in his pockets right now, which I'm assuming he's going to push the wave and, you know, get back, reset by himself as well and come back. But I feel like in the mid lane is where the majority of the gold lays in. 400 gold up for Frau right now. I don't think he's scared of a Tia Cassiopeia. I think he's more scared to kind of meet the Rek'Sai and the Cassiopeia together if he's stuck on the miasma. But with a friend of Coppen down there on Gragas, like I said, it's a free ticket. You see the Gragas, you back the hell up, because if the Yasuo is sitting in fog of war, all he needs is one knockup and he can join. Bind will land onto the edge. Just a little bit of poke from the Morgana. Oh, here we go. It's the 2v1.
And it looks like they've got themselves a little bit of action in the mid lane.
Oh,
Backfoot,
beautiful.
Knockup. Will he be able to follow through with the kill? No, it's going to be the cleanup coming in from Mike.
And Rek'Sai right there, he was like, wait up guys, I want some as well. Grabs a little assist for himself, but Gragas is all the way down the bot lane, gonna throw the cask. And that's where the story ends, Nick. They are safe and sound in the bot lane, whilst in the mid lane, they're securing even more turret plating. That is a lot of gold, and that is where a lot of the gold has come from, and they are right now in the gold lead. And you can see how Might has very patiently been playing against Vrau's Yasuo. Vrau knows that if he's gonna get ahead at some point, it's gonna be right here, right now. You cannot let these tier stacking champions get further into the game. You cannot let this mixed damage team get into late game, because it's much stronger than a full AD damage team. And yeah, sure, you do have the Yasuo, he does a lot of damage late game. You do have the Vayne with the Rage Blades, he can do true damage on every hit. But he is still an AD damage based team, I'm sorry. And I feel like Might has been playing this game very wisely and patiently around Vrau. He's allowing Vrau to engage him, and then he's able to turn it around with some company, let's say.
Yeah, there's definitely some confidence in terms of how they've been slowly turning this on, especially when WiLD Gaming, they've got the gold lead. Yes, they might be down in terms of total kills, but their CS across the board has been very solid. Vrau now decides to push his way forward, but I don't think they're going to be able to connect with that, as they believe that was a flash coming out of the Israel.
Yes, it was. He actually had to. And you could see Vrau there. He was eating his finger on that flash. He was like, oh man, I want to flash through. I want to get that Ezreal, but very wisely, like we said. The enemy uses their flash. Use that opportunity to get them the next time. Don't waste yours. And that is actually really good discipline coming out of the Nexus players. They know when to pull the trigger. Now look at that again. We do have Sanya waiting on the side bush. They are literally camping Mate right now in the mid lane. And let's see if they can pull out another kill. You can see though that Coppen down is waiting on the side. Oh, are they gonna go in there?
They might just go in, but on the other side of things, the Rek'Sai says, you know what, we'll be able to connect with some big damage. And just like that, the kill gets handed over to the mid laner. That is none other than Might.
Ooh, yikes. Well, we see a Cassiopeia running towards Fog of War, towards Bush. 9 out of 10 times there might or might not be the jungler in there, Nick. I don't know if you agree with me. Nevertheless, WiLD managed to secure the first tower into the game. They further their gold lead, 3,000 gold up right now, and they actually managed to even the kills as well. Cassiopeia is sitting on 3 and 1 in the mid lane, and I don't think that Vrau will have a lot of more killing potential right now, especially that his tower is down and he cannot overextend.
Absolutely, but on the other side of things, it looks like the Rift Herald will get picked up here from WiLD Gaming. That will give them another little bit of lane pressure should they find their way in. At the moment, it looks like this bot lane from WiLD is keeping the two from Nexus completely
Oh,
exhausted.
here's the Jarvan!
They can't even stay under tower.
But he's alone!
Oh no, the Jarvan's gone all alone. Will get stunned up, but will not get swallowed there by the Tom. As managed out narrowly with a slither of life.
See, this is the general idea of an engagement that you might want to have when 3 members are pressuring against your tier 1 tower. You usually want to have a flank TP, but then when your whole team is poked down to less than 20% HP and then backed off in the tower, you can't really cancel your teleport anymore. So again, very well played from WiLD. They did ping the TP, but they marched forward to make sure that all the rest of the members of Nexus could not follow up with a TP. So all it ended up being is costing Cold yet another flash to get away from a flank TP that should have actually somehow worked to bring Nexus back into the game. I don't think Shelly got anything in the top lane. I think it was just 1 tower as well. I think we have lost Nick. We will have him back very shortly as Tam Kent has brought some of his friends around. Predator pops from the Gragas. Is he gonna take that engage? No, he's not. Vayne poked down very dangerously. Almost a 3rd stack right there from Tam Kench. Could mean a devour and could mean the death. The first Drake of the game is being secured by WiLD. Is going to be the Air Drake. And everything will go back to normal. Vrau has found some not so friendly frog. And he's gonna go ahead and ult there. Is that still gonna be popped? No. Tamkins is gonna be going down. Walked the wrong way, my friend. And kinda paid for it. On the other hand, while our pressure in the tier 2 tower in the bot lane, engage from the Jarvan, but he has to actually dash through his own Cataclysm. WiLD are seeming to be claiming the whole entire map. The only saving grace right now, I guess, on the map is that Vayne sitting ahead in CS. Having the Gragas next to you, not being that far behind the Rek'Sai as well is something, but they have got the Jarvan yet again. Stopwatch is gonna save him some time until he does go down to Cold. This is the first kill for the Aurelia for the side of WiLD, and right now Vro and Copendown are beating down that mid lane tier 1 tower, very near the tower, while on the other side WiLD has taken down the tier 2 bot lane tower. Both teams are trying to split open the map to try and get that vision further in, because Dragon does spawn in 2 minutes. And both teams do have a very quick Baron time. Tamkin's gonna be cleaning a little bit of that pink wood in there. Minute and 20 seconds until that big purple worm spawns in the top pit of the map, and both teams want to get their hands in them. I don't know how much Nexus wants to get their hands in them in that pit right now, but they definitely don't want to give this away to WiLD for free. WiLD sitting on a 5,000 gold lead right now, I'm sorry, and 3 towers up. And to be honest, they do have the advantage when it comes to taking that Baron Nashor down quickly. They do have the AD damage coming from the Aurelia and the Ezreal, and that chuck down dot damage from Cassiopeia helps tremendously. And here we go, WiLD has actually claimed the jungle of Nexus as their own. Another fight is going to be happening in the top lane. Cassiopeia has gotten shut down, and that's a huge fat shutdown that goes in the hands of Vayne. But look at that. It's like it doesn't matter. WiLD lose a member on one side, but they are going to take an objective on the other side. And mid lane tier 2 tower is going to be going down. And that is really unfortunate for Nexus. They do grab that big shutdown on the Vayne, though. That Vayne that is very close to what seems to be a Zeal item and not the Rage Blade. We'll see what direction he wants to go with his itemization so far.
Well, from this side, I am back, and hopefully you can hear me trouble.
Yes, we can. Welcome back, Nick.
It's great to be back. Sorry about that, but for right now, it looks like the teams are going to play around this Infernal Drake. But to be honest, I'm not too sure if Nexus can stick around for too long. It looks like the Rek'Sai will commit from a distance. However, it is going to be a fight with the casket being thrown down. That's going to create a massive separation.
Oh,
and it is going to be WiLD Gaming that come out on top of that fight. But for right now, it looks like Vrao wants to commit. He will go down at the last, and it is going to be the follow-up.
Oh, we have more.
Trying to find their way in. The knock-up follows its way through, and it is going to be Tom Kench that needs to roll his way out. On the other side of things, it's a double stun that lands in from the distance, and Marine coming up clutch. He wants to go for the final cleanup and not being able to come up with it just in time, but they're going to have to wait it out and hand that one over to Kenshin.
And it feels like WiLD have taken complete control of this game. And here we have another replay of that crazy fight. Jungler and ADC end up going down way too quickly, and then Vrao is like, oh, I want some, let me in. And one by one, the Nexus members ended up going down. We're back to live, and Gragas might be finding some new friends in his jungle now. Friends, debatable.
Alright, so it looks like they're going to make that play on the Infernal. On the other side of things, Nexus want to keep playing for this. They realize that the damage spike will not put their efforts in any better positions. For right now, they are all going to back up for the most part, get themselves a couple new items in the back pocket. And Aurelia sitting currently with a 500 gold bounty and looking pretty solid if you're in WiLD Gaming.
And major items have been completed from the side of WiLD. That means team fight. We've got Realize and Seraph's Embrace completed for Might. We do see Gauntlet and more mana completed for the Ezreal. And of course, huge in the top lane sits Marine with his Trinity and Sterak's, which I could not think of a most godly item other than Sterak's for any melee fighter in the top lane.
Absolutely. For me, that's Sterak's at the moment doing some damage, or will start pounding in that damage. This Aurelia is slowly but surely getting more and more massive. If you just take a look at the CS advantage that she has over the Jarvan, that's where it really stands out for me. It looks like they're just going to force their way down the mid lane. That casket will go wide. And Marine, once again, going to put the challenge up against J4, who gets away once again. He can't take these fights anymore.
WiLD does want Nexus to get into that Baron area. They do want them to chase because they know Marine will be able to go against Coat at any minute. And
oh no.
Petrifying Gaze is going to miss that, and that's a massive ultimate. I think this is about time where WiLD pulls away from that Baron and maybe tries to push, you know, another lane and try to do it the way they've been doing it so far. Like maybe push with one player somewhere else and get an objective. Oh boy, Marine is flanking.
Marine is flanking and has a potential way to find his way in here with the Aurelia. However, the squad rotate as a team. WiLD Gaming decide they want to push Baron. Marine's going to go for the split push here.
Oh, they started it.
And this might be an interesting play. Will they play it? Doesn't look like it. They back themselves away. Somebody's going to need to commit themselves to Marine. And now the decision time will need to be made. The ultimate, the Cataclysm, will be able to land its way in. And now it's all about trying to follow up with the damage. Marine is not TPing back across as Cassio will be able to pick the job. And they decide to go for the Baron. This might be a risky move. Marine is keeping on pushing on his side of things. On the other side, it looks like Cassio will be able to land the damage here. They try to follow up. Marine can just keep on going. At the moment, on the other side of things, it looks like Nexus all get knocked out. That's the ace.
And this could very well be GG. Look at Marine. That was a full V5. That WiLD won right there. And they are gonna be hitting at the Nexus very, very soon. Of course, Abyssal Voyage comes in for Tom Kent's bringing in the ADC, but...
No, it looks like they'll go for the tower instead, but some great play and
there's
huge
no more
pressure
wave.
being paid on by WiLD. I mean, if we take a look at that and maybe take a step back, Trouble, Nexus were forced into a position where they had to react. They had to either go or they had to make sure that they covered their base with Marine. Unfortunately, between a rock and a hard place, there was no winning that situation, as we get to see in the replay.
So as you see here in the replay, the Jarvan gets in and a beautiful Klatz Devour comes in from Hextasy and saves the Cassiopeia, and then again they put that Miasma down in the Baron pit. Gragas cannot get out, so basically there's no junglers in the game, and at this point WiLD pull the trigger and say, look, Marine is split pushing, so they're either, before even the game started, as well,
I thought we were part of the replay there for a second, but it does look like Nexus managed to pick up the Cassio there just outside the Baron pit, but with those empowered minions still making their way towards the bottom lane, and the Vayne trying to push that wave back. They won't be able to make a play on the Baron pit just yet. However, the TP is now coming in from Vayne. Rek'Sai has been caught off guard, as it looks like the chains will become unbroken and get the stun on him. This is a huge play here from Nexus, who are trying to come out massive, and it looks like the Israel will also get taken down. So this should be the call. Baron time.
Oh boy, WiLD, what have you done? Marina obviously cannot TP into that madness that's happening right now at Baron. Goat has already TP'd, but he's going in!
He's decided to go for the challenge here at the moment. It does not look like he'll be able to connect with the ultimate. He lands the shots, but will he be able to follow up? Doesn't look like it, as he's going to use the W, try to prevent that damage from flowing in. He's caught between four, gets knocked down. They walk out with Baron. It's all going in favor of Nexus.
Oh boy, this is all falling apart. WiLD have lost the footing by far. Might has gotten caught, I think, 2 or 3 times in this game. The last time resulted in Nexus getting that Baron. They are back into the game league. They still have that Nexus tower standing. Trisha Paraz is not going to hit the mark, and they get out with an Infernal and a Baron Nashor. I think we're back in game.
Yeah, this might just be square one. They need to play with this Baron right now to get themselves an objective. To be honest, once this goes all neutral once again, we're going to find ourselves with WiLD Gaming in the driving seat. They've got a little bit of room now to try clear that vision, as we've seen with Rek'Sai. So should they play this correctly and not get caught again, they should be okay.
100%. So let's see how Nexus is going to play right now with the Baron Nashor, because I feel like this Nashor is going to be more of a defensive one. They're going to use it to push away their lanes. They're going to use it to get back into the game, you know, get even with WiLD. They still are on the not so favorable side due to the nature of the composition, the full AD. They do have the Vayne though, and you saw how the Vayne was able to 1v1 the Ezreal, and she will do it again. She can't do it again.
To be honest, this is a position where if I'm Nexus, I would almost invite them to start playing dangerous games around my jungle and try to set a trap of their own, because WiLD are still going out, they're ready to challenge us, but I don't think that they're ready to take on that 5v4 team fight while the Aurelia is in the bottom lane. That being said, the empowered minions will once again make their way towards forcing the Jarvan to rotate across, so it all ends, but I think there was a fraction of a second there where Nexus could have taken advantage of their opposition overextending in their jungle.
Well, remember, both fights that WiLD lost, well, I mean not lost, both previous fights, 1 won, 1 lost, were with Marine not being there. What happens when that super fed 300 CS Aurelia joins the fight? Now that is what I want to see, because so far we've seen Marine exclusively on split push duty, but I do want to see Marine getting into these team fights, zoning the Vayne away from the rest of the team, so your Cassiopeia and your Ezreal are very, you know, free to do the damage they're supposed to. Your two tier stacking champions that you have in your team. Look at that!
So much damage coming out of Evil there, trying to put in that damage to the opposition ADC. On the other side of things, Marine once again going for that split push, but now is the time for him to gather around his team and try to find a fight here. As you can see, the Ezreal cancels his back just because of that reason, and it looks like the Predator will get popped here as they chase down Marine, but that's not the player that they really want to go hunting for.
Well, judging from the 2v4 action that Marine wanted to take earlier into the game, I don't think he minds the 1v1 very much. Not the 1v4 either, so I don't think he's the right player to be attacking right now, especially because he's sitting on that Sterex. They would have to burn through the shield as well and the empowerment. But look at that. I think both teams are about to go at it.
Yeah, it looks like the pressure will build and the casket gets thrown. That should be the call out here from WiLD Gaming to go for the attack. Well done. Great wind wall being shown there from Yasuo to just cancel out that ultimate from Ezreal. They are rotating their way around. This should be a free inhibitor, essentially, for the squad from WiLD Gaming as they try to push their way forward. And it looks like they're going to potentially get locked up from either side. So will this squeeze pay off here from Nexus? As it looks like they try to get themselves out of a precarious situation. One of the players does get spread a little bit far too far. On the other side of things, it is going to be Marine trying to force his way in. It is Ezreal gets out with a slither of life. Marine picks himself up one. Now tries to follow through on the Vayne. Will he be able to come with the cleanup? Does exactly that as both players trade out the kills. However, it is the squad of WiLD Gaming that come up big.
And somehow, Code always manages to get out alive and survive. Flag and drag to freedom, back to his founder where it's gonna heal him, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Match for death for the side of Nexus. Code is going to give himself up. He's going to be WiLD, knocking down the second and only remaining Nexus tower of the game, and they are going to be taking this victory home. A little bit of a zoom in on that Nexus, and oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed, as it is going to be the squad that comes up, and it was all about this play. They soon managed to get that knock-up. However, they weren't able to clean it up as Ezreal. He was left standing for a while. Nobody able to clean him up, low on health. But to be honest, it was Marine, and it was always going to be Marine that did that most in that fight. And finally, it is the WiLD Gaming squad that come up with a win.
So while Gaming 1-0 ahead in the second best of 3 of the day, is Nexus gonna be able to bring it back? We're gonna find out very soon before a very short commercial Blake? No, not Blake. Just a break. We'll see you soon. Stay tuned. What we expected it to be. Nexus does have a little bit of a dose of, adrenaline and a little bit of, if the surprise factor. You got the Hecarim with the ghost in there. You've got your Aurelia in the mid lane with the cleanse, of course, to be able to get out of any rune prisons. And of course, the Nahu. Early games does do good against the Jax, but then again, WiLD, you see that they go with a full-on teamfight comp. They even put the Nami down there to keep them even safer. So they've got the free engage from the Lee Sin. They've got huge damage and teamfight mixed damage potential, and a Nami to keep them safe. I'm kind of scratching my head here because I feel like the only person who can get assassinated by Hecarim is the Nami, but sure, you get the support other way. Who kills the rest?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle, and to be honest, I think we might see a couple of skill matchups here, especially in the mid lane. Will we see the early press coming in here from Vrau against Might? You've got to expect he's got a little bit of a lane advantage here in the early. He's also gone with Cleanse, so he knows that Ruin Prison, as soon as he gets locked down, that doesn't mean he's out of the fight. No. That means he can go even deeper with that cleanse option should he need it. But for right now, it looks like we've got a good game set up. It is going to be the Lee Sin going for that red leash in the top as the junglers will cross paths, meaning that Lee Sin will more than likely find his way towards the bot lane. And Hecarim has an option for that top gank.
I'm kind of surprised here, to be honest with you, to see Mind rocking the Ignite on the Ryze mid lane. It kind of tells me that he might be gonna be going a little more aggressive than we actually anticipated, because we did say that he is this sort of mid laner, you know, the slow scaling kind of mates mid laner. He likes to play that stuff. He's good at that stuff. And indeed, by Nexus forcing their hand on WiLD by banning LeBlanc and Cassiopeia, then he forced them. Well, it might have been the original plan to put the Ryze in the mid lane anyway, but by banning the more go-to champions in the mid lane, it actually forced them to stabilize that pick in the mid lane and get something else from Marine in the top. So it stopped being a flex, and the Nexus could, you know, prioritize their picks around that. Now, saying that, I really do enjoy the mobility that Nexus has. The Aurelia can dive in, the Kai'Sa can dive in, the Hecarim can dive in, same as the Gnar. I feel like the only poor thing that's gonna be left behind is gonna be the Morgana, unless she decides to flash in herself as well. So there is, like I said, this surprise material element and this kind of engagement that Nexus likes to play with, but this time they need to use it wisely and not overdo it like last game. And I feel like they do have more chances here than previous.
And there we go. The cleanse already will get used as both summoners get burnt there from the Aurelia in the mid lane. Now making her way towards the Hecarim, who looking to clear up that camp on that side, but will leave it as he realizes that might be a little bit overextended.
Well, that still leaves the mid lane of Nexus right now very, very overextended in the lane. And have a look at the Lee Sin. He's going to be doing the Scuttle Grab. I think he's going to be returning in the mid lane as well. Same as the Hecarim. So I think we will see a clash of junglers right here. That's why the Aurelia is pulling towards her side where the jungler is right now, rather than the opposite side. And we do have a little bit of a stealing situation happening in the bot lane.
Yeah, a little bit of a trade there going in favor of the WiLD Gaming duo. Towards the mid lane, it's going to be an interesting battle between the two. I mean, Ryze is definitely going to be looking for some kind of freeze on the lane, knowing that the Aurelia is almost out of options. On the other side of things, this Lee Sin is playing a very, very dangerous game, as he will be able to ward jump his way out of it. Obviously, that Lee Sin mobility, always great to be able to be used. So expect Lee to keep playing around this Aurelia and essentially be a thorn on her side.
So here, not only WiLD does have the late game, but they do have the push potential on every single lane as well. Severe can push wave after wave after wave. I feel like the only person who doesn't have the push potential for them is the Jax in the top lane, because he does not have that AoE damage. And pushing the Kai'Sa back into the bot lane, pushing the Kai'Sa underneath the tower can actually deny quite a few CS, and you see that she has also missed 3 of them so far. So slowly but surely she starts falling behind. Now, both are big menaces in the late game, both the Kai'Sa and the Severe. But have a look, from the side of WiLD, they're playing everything for the Severe. Because the Nami does not have the Ignite, it's been put in the Ryze in the mid lane. Now, that could also mean danger for him not having a teleport or not having a defensive cooldown, because playing against the Aurelia can get tricky, especially when that Hecarim comes in. So wasting your rune prison when you think you're safe, and then horse comes at 300 kilometers per hour behind you, we'll see what the Ignite can do there.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see what the Ignite can do. It looks like he might go for an option to be able to collapse on this bot lane. That the pressure has pretty much been piled on from the Severe. Obviously has one of the best lane pushes in the game when it comes down to ADCs. So for right now, things are just going to remain relatively neutral across the board, as we're still waiting for that first blood to be able to land. Taking one step back, however, as this goes later and later, I've got to feel that WiLD Gaming have got what it takes. However, the Q will be able to get landed here from Lee Sin. On the other side of things, Hecarim to the fight, and it looks like the first blood will go over to Aurelia, who's now trying to find her way in up against this Ryze. It is going to be the cleanup, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but you gotta say, lane advantage went, of course, over to Vrau, who managed to pick up that first blood.
Well, it does, but we do have both of the kills resulting in the mid laner's hands, so you can't say, well, pretty much they are going to be even, you know, even on CS, even on kills. Now, I guess the Ignite did come in handy. In the end, he did manage to pick up the kill onto the Irelia, which I don't think otherwise he would have been able to do so. It felt like Irelia was gonna die much sooner than she did because Hecarim was far away when the engage was already happening, but a great counter gank happened right there by Copen down to manage and equalize the score. Actually, not even equalize the score. I feel like they got the first blood first, yeah. So it ended up being to their advantage.
Yeah, so for right now, Hecarim's dancing a little bit of a dance between two junglers there, as Hecarim is on 6, Lee Sin is on 5, so down a level advantage, and he's going to just keep on pressing here, just saying, you know what, you want to come challenge in your own jungle? I'm willing to take your camps and make sure that you're buffed away. Some great zoning play actually being shown here from the jungler from Nexus.
And he is not scared of anything right now. Copendown is marching in the jungle of Sanya and he does not care. He does have that Irelia with him. You see that he does have the pushing power right now with the first semi-item, let's say, completed. The first component of an item completed. And he is able not only to push the wave towards the rise, but even to push the rise underneath the tower. Now, I feel like again, top lane has been kind of like a forgotten territory for both of the teams. They're like, fine, you can both join us late game. I do feel that Jax does have the upper hand there. Jax is one of the most disgusting champions late game, in my opinion. Especially with the addition of the new item, he's quite the unbeatable champion to meet. And of course, after the completion of Trinity as well. So we will see when these two guys join, if they actually join, because we didn't see Marine really joining any team fight, apart from the last one, if I'm not wrong, in the last game. So we'll see what they want to do. Oh, the flash engage!
It looks like the shackles will get landed, but they flash themselves out of it. The field will be able to connect here with Nami, who gets sent down to the bottom of the ocean. On the other side of things, Aurelia is going to be able to chase down her opposite number, and Frau picks himself up another. That's all great play coming in here from Nexus.
And that was the missing ignite that actually ended up resulting in Might's death right there. I feel like if he did have it up, then Frau would not have survived. Or maybe they would have been traded. Oh my god, that's not where you want to back!
Gets back just in time, but the knockback will be able to come in here from the Hecarim. Will they follow up? No, they decide, you know what? They're going to back up, but they didn't even notice the Lee Sin in that curious position. Lee's now forced to follow, and it's going to be the Morgana that cleans that one up, which is none other than Ange.
What is going on? Why are people staying where they're not supposed to stay, Nick? You don't back on top of a wood unless you have checked that there isn't any. So, all in all, Evil ends up, okay, fine, losing his summoners, but Sanya is the one that loses his summoners and his life. So you could say, well, baited from the side of Nexus, and they managed to grab the kill. They do have a really good lead in the bot lane as well, apart from the fact that they're behind in CS. And look at that. I feel like Vrao can do whatever he wants in the mid lane.
He's landing those stuns absolutely superbly. Spinning the needle there through the thread through the needle. For right now, Marine's just going to keep on farming up, and I think he's going to be a big formidable opposition in this game, to be honest.
Oh, here's Lee Sin.
Oh, it looks like the stun will be able to land. Lee Sin's not being able to connect with the Q. The Ignite will get wasted there, as that one goes in favor of the crew from Nexus. And it looks like the Counter-Strike will not need to be used there, as Nah backs out just in time.
All right. Attempt for dive number 2. Go.
Oh, on the other side, it looks like Hecarim's ready to connect, but we'll need to duck out of that fight. Oh, it's another shot, but it looks like Rise and Lee connect just in time to make that their own.
Well, you know what they say, Nick. Third time's the charm. So third time of the try right there for WiLD, and they do manage to pick up Frau in the mid lane. They will manage to push in the wave as well, but not so much. Kai'Sa is relatively safe in lane, and Hecarim will try to get the Rise here, but all he's gonna get is a summoner. Oh boy.
No, but the spell shield will get put up, but it's not going to be enough as Marine picks himself up a kill, and Nexus, they're looking like they're slowly but surely throwing away that advantage that they had purely all around the mid lane and potentially overstaying.
Hey, Marine left his top lane and grabs himself a kill. And you know what that means? That means one step closer to the Trinity Force, one step closer to the Nightmare beginning. Kai'Sa goes in.
Yeah, Kai'Sa's going to go in. The spell shield does get put up on her on the other side of things. It looks like the shackles will get laid down. It's going to be no, it's actually both players getting out just at the last second, the last tick before the shackles secure their position.
That might have been a little bit greedy from Ang. He knew that there were no summoners on the Nami, but then he wanted, you know, to get the Severe as well. So he was like, just a little bit closer and then we can get them both. Nami gets a little bit out of range. Severe manages to flash away. WiLD manages to keep their bot lane safe. For now, Pony's in the mid lane again.
Pony's in the mid lane, but it looks like the ultimate will get thrown down here from the Aurelia. That's sweep up kill, but gotta be said, Vrao, where have you been practicing these stuns? Because every single time it looks like he predicts out the move.
Most definitely, and we have seen a lot of players running that cleanse versus the Aurelia, but then again, I felt like WiLD running a composition where you don't have an ignite at all, thought it might have hurt them, even though I don't believe so. Shelly's gonna be popped in the mid lane and open a big hole in the defenses of WiLD, and not only that, but a lot of turret plating is gonna go down with that, which is very, very valuable early game. And this is a superb use of Shelly, using it before 14 minutes and getting all this turret plating gold, and Pony's in the bot.
Oh, wow. Another huge play coming in here from the Hecarim, as it looks like he'll be able to clean that one up. So some very, very solid play from the Nexus jungler, Copendown, who has looked solid throughout the series, but to be honest, has come into his own here. I mean, taking a look at the kill participation, 5 out of the 6 kills on the board he has been a part of, and really stepped into his own with the Hecarim in hand.
Loving actually the plays he's been able to pull out this far. It feels like any lane he goes to, he will pull a summoner, then he will come back and he will pull, you know, a kill and an advantage for his team. Although we cannot take WiLD out of this game yet. We talked about the power spike late game. First items are just now starting to be completed. Trinity Force for the Jax in the top lane. Very soon, the Rise will have his Seraphs as well. Essence River on the Severe. On the other side, though, we have not seen yet major items. Look at that, nah. He doesn't have Cleaver yet. No Trinity on the Aurelia. You know, only Infinity Edge on the Kai'Sa.
Marine.
But that's not enough yet. I feel like the
Yeah.
power spike lies on the side of WiLD right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think WiLD, as far as scaling goes, definitely in their court, especially with the items in hand. At the moment, it looks like Rise is making his way up, and we'll get essentially things going a little bit more aggressive on that top side as Rise, Lee, and Jax
I think we
all
might have a
floating towards
party.
that top lane.
Oh boy, look how hard
Oh.
this Jax is trying to pressure that wave in so they can try and get code into the top lane, but it's going to be a push nevertheless. Now, is it going to be replied from Nexus? That is the question. Oh boy, another 1v1.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be the Rise taking on the
Yes, the
Aurelia in this
flash.
1v1 challenge. On the other side of things, it is going to be Hecarim trying to pony his way in, and I don't
No,
think
kill
it's going to be
secure.
enough here from the squad.
No.
Kill. Oh, but it looks like he's going to pop the Ghost as well. Getting ready to challenge in this fight. The stun will come in just to slow him down for a second. Good play there from Marine. However, it's going to be the Lee Sin trying to back his way up. The W will be able to get him back to under tower just in time, as it is going to be WiLD who come up with their lives.
Well, there is a saying in Greece that says,
Oh,
oh my
wow.
god, he dived!
He dives in and says, you know what, I'll take that kill. Great lockdown there from Morgana. And it's, you know what, this game really can go either way. But Nexus, they've been making some great plays as a unit.
There's a saying in Greece that says, hold me to hold you so we can get up the mountain. And this is exactly what Marine and Sanya did in the top lane. They were jumping one on top of the other, trying to pull each other to themselves so they can get away from that hungry Nexus. And they managed to keep both of the members alive. Well, you can't say the same for WiLD's bot lane that actually get dived. Now, I feel like Nexus does have the upper hand right here, but
Yeah.
they do have scaling. WiLD has a little bit more under their belt. They're not there yet, but they will be soon. This is going to be a Mountain Dragon, though, that's going to go down for Nexus, and it's going to help them even more with the objectives that they are ahead already. They have one more tower, they have the Dragon, they're 3,000 gold ahead, 5 kills. Everything is going perfect for Nexus so far. Now we need to see the mid-game execution.
Yeah, so this is the big moment, right? For Nexus, to be honest, they need to try shut this down in the next 5 to 10 minutes. They need to make sure that they can pick up on their advantages and keep the pressure on their opposite numbers, because as WiLD gets slowly but surely more into that late game, the ball will start moving over into their court. However, on the side of things, the Mountain Drake is great, but you got to look at the team composition here from Nexus. They're not necessarily a sieging comp. They need to play for those picks. They need to play for those open-ended team fights. However, it looks like they might have just caught one of the players off guard here as he finds his way in. The TP will be able to make his way in on the other side. It is going to be Marine as he finds and lands a stand. It's going to be the follow-through. On the other side is Aurelia trying to connect. She only lands a stun on 2, but it looks like she will get knocked out as that is Rao falling down. And it is going to be the cleanup coming in here from WiLD Gaming, who come up with the advantage.
Wow. I'm still... Okay. I'm trying to actually understand what happened in this side, because it felt like Ang goes in and he's like, I got this, guys, let's go in, and they want to catch Might off guard, but then the whole of WiLD piles up on top of him to try and keep him alive. He ends up going down, and then at the end, it's a trade of kills and a trade of towers? Still Nexus ahead.
I think, to be honest, Nexus could have sealed that should they land their skill shots that they needed to desperately. I've got to give credit here to Might, who managed to dodge out a couple of big skill shots there and essentially getting himself out of a lot of damage, building himself a little bit more time for Marine to find his way in. Also, the follow-up coming in from Sanya. So, WiLD, this is what we talked about. Should Nexus not make the most of it in these next few minutes? Well, they've got a small gold lead. I've got to say, I'm concerned for their health when it goes into the latter stages of the game.
I don't even think that 3,000 gold lead at this stage is considered a gold lead that is like game changing. It could be like maybe half an item. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I think it makes a difference to the point where you say like completed items, such as the Jax. He is like in a second completed item, while Na does have his already. So I think that is where most of the difference is gonna take part in. But we have Baron spawning in 15 minutes and a Mountain Drake already on Nexus, and they do have really good, you know, structure and objective killing champions right there. Full AD, they do a lot of damage, plus the mountain, and they've got a Lee Sin.
They've committed 3 towards the bot lane at the moment.
Tower.
It looks like they should be able to. Basically, this move means that they sacrifice the mid tower, which, to be honest, for me, was the thing that was holding them in the game for the most part. Marine is basically just watching them walk past and not going to commit to a fight at all. Just waits in the wings and says, you want to come clear this wall?
Oh boy, don't go there!
No, he's walked into a very dangerous bush. Full of action here from the WiLD Gaming team, who are now pressing forward with their advantage. However, on the other side of things, Na's going to be able to connect with a couple of slows. The kick will come out and says, get away from me. I don't want to fight that fight.
And this is exactly what we saw right there. Apart from the fact that Evil made the wrong move right then, he walked into Foggy without knowing who is hiding in the bush, and he happened to be Marine and his friends. It's what we said exactly at the start. Copping down, the only person who he can engage on is the Nami. Hextasy got deleted there, but apart from that, he couldn't get anything else going on in the fight. So this is what gets me wondering. When the Hecarim gets in, and he does get the Nami, here we see again, oh boy.
Goes immediately for that Nami, gets the cleanup, and to be honest, I'm not too sure of your thoughts on this, but maybe Nami needs to consider getting a stopwatch just to keep herself in these fights for a little bit longer, offer a little bit more utility to her backline, and see what she can do should you get... You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think this Nami is going to be press all my buttons really quickly before I die. Try to get, you know, the Ardent Sensor buff onto my ADC, and then I can die peacefully while my ADC kills everything else.
Alright, for right now, Sevilla is going to be able to pop her ultimate.
Just like
the crits
that.
will actually get landed.
Do
On the
it.
other side of things, will Lee Sin decide to commit? Troubles yells do it, but managing to maintain some composure at this point is the Lee Sin, as it looks like they'll be able to pick up the Infernal.
Oh
no, it's the
it
commitment here from the other side of things. It's going to be the Aurelia that managed to land a surprise combo, diving directly onto the Severe. The Nami and the Severe, the bottom lane will get eliminated. On the other side of things, Marine needs to try escape. He's going to flash over the wall. Na's going to be there to follow. It looks like Rise is going to dodge. No, he gets knocked out of the circle. Hecarim might find himself in a little bit of a precarious position at the moment, as it's going to be Kai'Sa trying to follow up with the damage, but it's not going to be enough here. As WiLD Gaming get out of that rather luckily, or fortunately, I would say.
Wow, that was a very messy fight, and it ended up being in favor of WiLD yet again. How do they do that? That was a very split up fight. Evil got caught at the start. Look at the bottom of your screen. He gets caught up by Marine right there, and he has to pull away at the start. If you see, he has to pop his heal and his ultimate to get away from Marine, and then this happens. You see that when Rise scales, he can do a lot of things. Joined by the Lee Sin, they catch 2 members of Nexus off guard there, and then they clean up 3 for 2 for their advantage.
For me, the pivotal flaw in that fight was Nexus did so well, and especially taking a look at their top lane. I mean, Catsput's main did so well to jump onto the back line. He took out essentially Severe and Nami, and by that, that's where they should have drawn the line and said, you know what, we got enough out of that fight, let's back up. But then it was the chase. They knew that there was a flash spent by Jax. Gnar went in, he wasted his flash. But right now, it looks like we got a play on the Baron. They've got a Mountain Drake in hand. Lee Sin, as well as Severe, make their way around. Doesn't look like it's going to afford to anything. But I think the biggest problem here with Nexus is they're not drawing the line of when they've won their fight and continue pressing when they don't need to.
I think they're trying to burn Marine's teleport as well. If they pressure Baron, and Marine's going to have to reply. I think it happens.
The ult will get thrown down, but it looks like they have gotten themselves caught out. At the moment, it is going to be WiLD on the counter-attack, trying to push their way forward.
Oh my god, that speed!
And it looks like this might be an opportunity for them to make a Baron play of their own.
Oh my god. Nami, speed buff, and righteous glory as well as phase rush. What? He was able to match the Hecarim speed. That's incredible.
It is very incredible, especially considering when he's got that rune prison, it's basically a click root stun. And at the moment, they're trying to just make sure that they can peel a little bit here for their teammate that got caught out. They should back out of the situation relatively unscathed. And WiLD Gaming can be happy with what just transpired in that last team fight.
WiLD Gaming, if you have noticed, have managed to brought themselves back, as we look at the replay of the last fight, to even gold. They have constantly been
look at this Rise.
Exactly. They have constantly been below Nexus in gold, and right now they are actually matching them and even being a little bit ahead. I think they're about like 50 or 100 gold ahead at this point. WiLD know how to keep their composure and bring a game back to their strengths. Now it's where the strengths start. The 25 to 30 minute mark where the late game begins is where their champions shine.
Absolutely, and this is where Marine becomes a scary split, pushing Moncha on the other side of things. It is going to be the squad of WiLD that collapses in on the opposite number. However, it is going to be Hecarim that dances his way through. Looks like he'll get locked down in the rune prison. It's all coming out on top, and it all started with their Rise.
3 for 0, and that's a very clean Baron, if you will, for WiLD. And Nick, they have somehow brought it back. They know how to pick their fights, and I have just realized how ridiculous Baron Nashor looks with his armor.
Yeah, it does look rather ridiculous, but it has to be said, a really fantastic performance here from WiLD Gaming. They were on the back foot, they held strong, they stuck to essentially what was going to be their power plays. And at the moment, they've got so much speed with the lockdown potential with the Rise.
Quite literally, they have so much speed.
Yeah. It becomes so scary to come up against a squad when they start running at you.
I mean, what do you do and who do you defend? Because if you think about it, this is an all-in team for Nexus. Your Hecarim cannot peel for you. He needs to go in. He needs to get that fear of the kind of, you know, assassination, if you will, on a member of WiLD with the E. The Aurelian needs to do the same. The Aurelian is not going to sit back and peel for you. You need to get that Severe down. You need to get that Nami down. So what are you left with? Oh boy.
Looks like the Rumble will get called in, and he's gonna go
And
for
go.
the flash. It looks like Evil might get himself out of this situation as the Morgana's there in support. However, has he overextended himself a little bit too far as the squad starts to rush his way in? Somehow he stays alive. He keeps dodging between all of these shots. Will he even be able to come with the kill? No, he doesn't. But damn, he got me excited there for a little bit.
That was a little bit optimistic, going for the 1v5, but we did so mind actually getting caught a lot of times in the previous game. It was 2 or 3 times where one of them even cost the Baron buff, if I'm not wrong, and this time it doesn't cost them anything. His team keeps on pressuring, but it does cost them a little bit of pressure because of that 4v5 and because of the fact that even when he comes out of that, you know, fountain, he's not going to have a TP to instantly join their team while they have Baron buff. So it kind of, you know, slows down the pace, which is exactly what Nexus want right now. They want this buff gone from WiLD to try and go at it again for the next spawn.
Yeah, so right now it looks like they're going to be playing around Drake. I'm not too sure exactly what will be spawning up next on the board. But for right now, Marine's split pushing game is going to be very, very dangerous towards that bottom tower, as we saw that got knocked down to a third of its life. However, on the other side of Nexus, I'm not too sure what they've got much to play with. They need to play for those picks. They picked up the Rise, which was huge. However, they weren't able to do too much off of it because, to be honest, the map pressure built by Marine in that bot lane was just too big.
Alright, let's see what the next steps will be, because as you can see, oh boy. Marine does not hesitate. He just pulls the trigger.
No, he doesn't. Oh, on the other side of things, it does look like the Severe gets herself caught up and once again overextended. They're getting too greedy too early. It is now going to be Frau and the crew trying to make their way forward. They're trying to clear up this minion wave. And Marine will keep pushing in towards the bottom lane. It looks like the Lee's ready to commit and manages to come up with a cleanup, as that is good play coming in from, I believe that was Sanya.
Now listen, Code uses teleport to be able to join his team for that play. Now, when next Baron spawns, Marine is gonna have his teleport up and Code is not. So who is gonna be matching that split push from Marine when this happens? So Nexus needs to also keep that in mind, that yes, they do get the picks they want. They catch, you know, Might on one side, they do catch the Severe, but they still 4v5 twice and managed to get 2 towers, one in the top, one in the mid. No, sorry, top lane tower has not fallen yet, but look at Marine. He's a beast. He cannot be stopped.
Such great pressure as well being put on from Marine as he picks up that tower. And now it's all about the focus towards the split push, taking every jungle creep away from them that they can. And like you said, I think that is a big thing that you pointed out. The fact that the TP is no longer in their hands, how are they going to match that should they actually go for an objective play? You know what Marine's job is going to be. I'm going to go on the split push, I'm going to draw out a player, and I'm going to force you to make a mistake, just like you did last time.
I think it's going to have to be more than one player that he's going to have to draw if they want to actually stop him dead in his tracks. And who do you really send? Yes, okay, you can send the Aurelia together with the Kai'Sa. That will result in Nexus having to potentially try a steal with the Hecarim, but then again, you're on the wrong side. If you want to try steal, you know, he can't ult through a wall if he's on red side to try and get into the pit and steal. You actually have to walk through the passages of the jungle, which will most likely be warded by WiLD. So I don't think they're going to let you walk anywhere near that Baron pit. So we're going to have to see how Nexus wants to play that. I think the fate is in their hands now.
Absolutely, and already you can see Marine dropping towards that bottom lane, as now we're a minute away from that Baron spawning in. And this is essentially where they start. Yeah, they're going to start grip holding against their opposition and keeping that grip going tighter and tighter until Nexus aren't able to make a move. And this is where I love to see WiLD Gaming's macro play.
There you go. Top side Nexus tower has gone down. They have 2 inhibitors that are actually naked, and one of them might be going down right now.
Yeah, it looks like that. Another inhibitor will get taken down as it looks like they go.
Oh!
They get loaded as it looks like the squad from Nexus are going to fall to the wayside as there's going to be WiLD Gaming trying to hunt down the ace. The Gnar will get locked down in the ruined prison, but it looks like he'll get cleaned up here from the Severe. On the other side of
they want
things,
the Kai'Sa.
it's time to oh no, I feel bad for the Kai'Sa. Gets eliminated. Morgana's going to throw in the TP. It's all coming up wild as they look to clean up with a clean 2-0.
Oh, hell yeah. Both Nexus towers are gonna be going down, and WiLD is gonna be ending up victorious from this best of 3. I mean, both best of 3s we have seen, the teams seem to be very, very dominant. I mean, Nexus has definitely put more fight than, you know, the other Romanian friend team, but let's go straight into ads and we'll be back to discuss about this game.